During the fall, like many classes before them, the Woodward Oklahoma class of 1992 recently met for their 30th class reunion. And like most small-town reunions, there was a homecoming parade. Friends met for lunch and attended the local high school football game on Friday night. Old friends caught up and reminisced about stories from the past. The class of 92 also met at a local lodge to enjoy food and stories and one other item, a time capsule. A time capsule that everyone had forgotten about, really. It was a dusty Rubbermaid container that was supposed to be opened in 2012 during their 20th reunion, but it was apparently lost and recently found. And here it was. We expected the standard stuff, magazines, music, pictures, and other heirlooms from 92. It was all those items and more. The capsule also contained 3 videotapes. Tapes of what? Well, it seemed no one really knew or remembered what was on the tapes. We didn't have a VCR handy to view them because, well, we weren't expecting them. But I knew what was on the tapes because I'd shot much of the footage 31 years earlier. It was made during a high school event that we called Future Day, and it was actually recorded at the end of our junior year on May 16th, 1991. And what was the footage? Well, I remember it as driving around town showing what the town looked like that day. It was also on-the-spot interviews, asking students, what would they be doing in 20 years? Would they be married? Would they have kids? What kind of job would they have? So I headed home with the tapes after the reunion, and I was going to convert them to a digital format, and after I finished, I thought, I should do these interviews again. The same people 31 years later. Would they be willing to interview again? Did their predictions come true? What was it like living in a small town and being a kid in that video? Well, let's see if we can find out.
Hey, Jack, thanks for joining us. We have some old footage of you that I sent to you. You got it, right?
I got it. Yeah, I'm really excited to chat with you about it and relive some of those memories from, I guess, a little over 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and pause real quick. Let me play the footage so everybody else can see it and see your predictions. Then we'll come back and see what you got right and what you didn't get right. So here we go. Here's the footage.
My name's Jack Roland Annis. I think I'll be in Washington, D.C. as President of the United States. Be single with 2 children. Problems in the world will be rainforest, depletion of the ozone, overpopulation, and the crisis of another war.
Okay, some fun stuff to deconstruct here, Jack. You're going to be in Washington, D.C.
Wrong.
As President of the United States.
Wrong.
Now, are you currently President of the United States and in Washington?
So not only am I not President of the United States, I'm not even President of my own house.
No. That's about right.
So let me tell you something real quick. I remember doing this, and I remember doing the interview.
Really?
And I remembered my answers. So when you started this, I was like, oh my God, I was such an idiot. I said I was going to be the president. So I've been looking forward to this, but no, not the president.
Okay, not the president. So you do have a memory of this, though. I think only maybe 2 people have had a slight memory, and you're the third one. So you actually did remember. Now, did you remember interviewing other people also as you went along?
So some of it, not all of it.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a little more vague, but I actually remember leaving the interview room and thinking, man, that was a stupid answer. I'm not kidding. That's the truth.
You do? Yeah. I remember. I'll tell you something I remember here just after I'm done with it. Okay. Are you single with 2 children?
So 2 children, not single. I'm married to the president of my house.
Got you. So you did have a couple of children. You got that part right.
Yep, 2 girls.
Rainforest, over ozone, and overpopulation, and we would be in the crisis of another war. So, ozone, I don't know. You kind of got some of those right there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, global warming, ozone, definitely some wars, even right now. But yeah, I think most if not all of it was at least fairly inaccurate.
So you went ahead and you did it, and so you came out and you thought it was dumb, like you wanted to go back and redo it. You thought I could have come up with better answers than that. Is that what you were thinking, or what? Or just didn't have anything?
No, I was just thinking, man, you're a dumbass. Why did you answer that way? But it makes me feel better because I saw all of the interviews you've done, I've watched, and I think everybody was pretty much doing a bit when we did the interview. So that I guess that made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely right. So tell me about that guy in that time and place, though. That's what I've been asking people. Do you remember like about him? Like, what was his deal? Did he know what he was doing? Tell me about Jack at the beginning of his senior year there.
So I guess the first thing I would say is I'm a really bad interviewer. Next thing, on my answers, I'd say, lighten up a little bit, bro. It's everything's going to be okay. As far as anything I'd say to him is just, experience life, have an open mind, meet as many people as you can, experience as many things as you can, and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's funny. I do have quite a bit of footage with you. I don't know. At some point, I remember taking the camera and I remember going into town and I did some stuff and came back. And at some point, I lost Scott Staton. Like he's like, I'm gonna get in trouble with my mom or something, and he left. And I was like, well, crap, I got to run this camera now. And so then I picked it up and I was like, and then you and I started doing, stuff. I do remember at some point I was trying to figure out how it was, I don't remember how I ran into you or how that happened. But
yeah,
definitely at some point we kind of switched back and forth, right? Or kind of went on this tirade on this stuff. So it was interesting that you do have it. I think you had it, Charla remembered some of it, and then one other person had a slight memory of it, but not much of it. Okay, so as we move along here, and we'll archive this answer for you. So what are you excited about in the future? Perfect. Okay, as we wrap up here, your part of the interview, anything else you want to say or anything you found interesting about the footage or that you want to touch on before we wrap up your part of it, Jack?
Yeah, so I would definitely like to say thank you to you for doing this and taking the time to put all this together and interviewing everybody. I'm sure that I'm not the first person that's done that. I know that people have done that, several times on Facebook, but I don't know about in the videos. So, thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm sure it was fun for you to talk to everybody and do these interviews, but I can say from the other side, it's been really nice to catch up, remotely and virtually through the videos and interviews that you've done. So thank you for that. And one other thing. So I wasn't able to go. I was crunched in between 2 work trips and was not able to come back for the reunion. I know a lot of people have talked about how much fun it is and that they'd like to do something, more often. And I just want to throw this out there. So every year in Woodward, there is a fundraiser for the Brawley Brothers. And it's in the August timeframe. There's a trivia night. There's a golf tournament. I know that Janelle and Brindy and Kyle and Tyson and Chad and some other folks have been before. I've been one time. They've had it twice. So perfect time if everybody's serious about that to try to convene around that and also raise some money for the charity that's associated with the weekend and, celebrate Nathan's life and catch up with everybody. I'm sure we can convince, Kyle or the Simmels or somebody to donate their house out for a nice get together with everybody that comes back.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Great point. And you know what? We'll put a link at the end of this particular episode where people want to donate to that fund. They can also donate it. So I'm glad you kind of brought that up in doing it. So yes, absolutely. One or two other things before we go. I thought was kind of interesting. There was some footage of your mom that I put in one of the videos from years ago when we talked to her and we gave her a little bit of trouble while we're doing it. Wonderful lady. But I do have a story about your mom I wanted to tell you before we got off here. I I wasn't a very good student in school, and so I had to do summer school 2 or 3 times, right? And I got in trouble in summer school, and I think your mom was the vice principal at the time, or at least for summer school people. Does that
Yep.
seem correct?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And so I remember I ran my mouth, and they said, go see Mrs. Annis, and they sent me there. And so I went and I sat in her office. She wasn't in there. I was sitting in her office, right? And just sitting in the chair, and I was waiting for her. I didn't know. I was like, okay, I got to sit here. And the teacher said, go tell her what you did, and then just wait for her. So I'm waiting. And then all of a sudden, I feel something. Someone slaps me in the back of the head. I'm sitting there, and then I go, what? And she goes, I don't know what you did. I don't know why you're here, but I don't really have time for your crap today. So get up out of the chair, go back to your class, tell them you got in trouble for it, and I don't want to see your face anymore. I just left out of there, man. I got out. She's like, gave me this pass to go. I was like, okay, I'm not messing with her. But
you couldn't do that today.
Yeah, I couldn't do that today. But she was just like, get out of here. I don't know what your problem is, but get out. But definitely, she was fun to be with. But I don't think I told anybody. I only told a couple of people that story. But I went back and said, I got in trouble, and I went on with my life. But great lady.
Yeah,
great
I think
lady.
There's several people that had it way worse. So
yeah,
more than one slap on the back of the head, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Some people had
perfect.
multiple.
Well, we'll wrap up this part of it, and I appreciate you taking the time for your side of the interview here. And I'm going to let you interview me since you had duties.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, well, let's wrap up this
on the
part.
Spot. Now it's my turn to put you on the spot.
Hey, Russ, thanks for joining us. We have some old footage that I sent you to look at.
My pleasure to join you. And, not sure what kind of footage we got, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Rusty Donnelly, and I guess I'm about 37 now. And I plan on bringing back polygamy if possible. Have about 6 wives. Hope to be a world-renowned gynecologist. And plan on having numerous children to carry on the great Donnelly name. The world's main problem will probably be extraterrestrials coming down and invading the nation. I doubt they'll bother with Russia. They have too many problems. Hope to be living in a condo in Florida on the beach somewhere. And I guess if I'm still skinny when I watch this tape, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay, years ago.
Yikes.
Yikes.
6
wives.
It's a little off on most of my predictions.
Yeah. I want to know what you got right out of this. 6 wives. I don't know if that was 6 total or 6 at once. What was that? What was that, Russ?
Well, I'm over, so I don't have 6 that came and went, nor do I have 6 current. So I'm batting over.
Yeah, that one's horrible. Yeah, the polygamy and the 6 wives. Yeah, none of that. No, numerous children. Did you at least have numerous children?
I'm batting over on that one as well. I've got no children to carry on the great Donnelly name. So I like I said, this is I could not have been more wrong.
This is horrible. You're really bad at this.
You're
at least a doctor, right? You're at least a gynecologist, a doctor, right?
Nobody knows anything when they're 18. Well, you know what? I'm not that either. A missionary. So, gynecologist, missionary, yeah, they're not really close either. So like I said, I could not have been more wrong on this stuff. Okay,
you did predict that extraterrestrials would be the world's problem. That didn't come true either, right?
Well, I don't know. If you see the direction America's going, we may have actually had extraterrestrials come down here and take over. Because it's not going real well. So that I'm not going to say I was wrong yet.
Yeah, you're not. That's not quite out. Now, you're at least talking to us from a condo in Florida on the beach, right?
No, again, again, swing and a miss. The plan is, though, still to be in a condo on some beach somewhere. It's just I've gotten a little bit of a late start on that one.
Okay. Now we're kind of getting down to the end here, and then we'll have a little bit of reflection. Now, you said, God, please forbid that you are still skinny. Are you still skinny?
I am still skinny comparatively. However, I think I was about 145, when 6 foot 145 when I did that video. Now I'm about 6 foot 200 or, 6'2", 200. So,
Okay, man.
comparatively to society, I'm still probably fairly thin. But I put on about 60 pounds since then.
Now you got into bodybuilding for a while, right? Am I mistaken that I saw that you look pretty buff to
like
me?
I said, luckily I think it's 60 pounds of good rather than 60 pounds of bad. So had I just slapped 60 pounds around the middle, would that have been a problem? But I think the 60 pounds of added has been a benefit.
I believe so too. I may have to pull up a picture and at least show you with some buff legs somewhere. I'll try to fish a good picture out to give a good comparison. Okay, all the fun. It was all just fun and silliness there. And you were being silly. Tell me a little bit about that kid at that time, that guy at that time. What do you remember about yourself right there at your junior year going into senior? Anything in particular?
Man, I tell you what, it actually has been kind of a bit of a transition. And, I had a big personality back then, and I always kind of wanted the limelight on me. And I would say until I was about 30, that was the case, But at age 30, when I went into the ministry, the life view kind of shifted to, it's like, okay, how can I shine the light on other people, and how can I shine the light on Christ, of course. But that guy, he was going to do whatever it took to get people to notice him. And, it's one of those things that everybody goes, well, what would you do if you could go back and talk to your former self? I don't know that I would say anything to him, but he probably needs a punch in the nose.
There's a lot. I know it's a few people at least that, man, I need to slap myself. What is going on there? I don't know.
We like to think that we had it all figured out when we were 17 and 18. Now that we're pushing in on 50, it's like, you know what? I might not have been quite as smart as I thought I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with that said, you're a missionary and found a whole different spot in life, and talked about a little bit about what advice you would give yourself. Now, with that said, as we're all just kind of evolving and hopefully becoming better people and better versions of ourselves as we go, what do you look forward to in the future now at this point in time? Okay, so as we're wrapping up here, I really appreciate you taking the time and looking back on each of us looking back on ourselves and looking at some old footage. It's been fun finding this random footage after all of these years. But thanks for taking the time. But as we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to say or anything that you want to leave people with?
No, we just had our reunion. I was hoping to get, in there to that. Unfortunately, I'm, 0 on the reunions. I haven't gotten to see anybody. But I did see a lot of the video or the pictures and whatnot. Everybody looks great. Most of us a few pounds heavier, a little lighter on the hair follicles.
A lot.
Gravity seems to be taking effect on most of us. But man, I tell you what, I see a lot of people on Facebook, and that's kind of seems to how we, maintain connections with each other. I've got to say, I'm really impressed with a lot of the transition of the people that we, went to school with, as, doing what I do and having kind of really changed my life to focusing on God and others rather than myself. Seeing, a lot of the growth of the people that we went to school with, their heart for others, their faith in Christ, a lot of them, it's just one of those things that I didn't necessarily think that of them at the time. Now, I didn't think of that of myself at the time either, but I don't know as if everybody has really kind of grown as a person, or if I just didn't know everybody as well as I thought I knew them back then. But it's been really encouraging to see where everybody is in their life today, and the growth that everybody has kind of gone through over the years.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a little bit of both. Like, we've grown a little bit, and plus also I was oblivious to a lot of people too. Just where they were walking at the time. They, through these interviews, they said, "Oh, this was happening then." I go, I didn't see that, man. I was just completely oblivious. But I think you're right. It's a little bit of a mix of both. But it is nice to see all of us as a group kind of moving forward in the world. But I appreciate the time. I also have some footage that I found of your dad in the video, and I'll send it to you.
Oh, wow.
Walking down the hall. He has a giant, and I'll add it to the end of this episode, but he has a giant trash bag full of popcorn. And he's walking down, and he says, "The popcorn of the future, biodegradable to popcorn."
Now, my dad was not afraid to take home some leftover popcorn when he was, working on the concessions and whatnot. And I will say, as far as change, he's not changed in that category. He is exactly as frugal as he was back then.
I believe it. Well, I appreciate it. We'll wrap it up for this time. And thanks so much again for spending time with us, Russ, and taking time out of your day.
Hey, my pleasure, and good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Biodegradable popcorn.
He's floating during the movie.
Popcorn of the future.
I saw you.
All right, Kenny. So throughout the last, how many weeks have you been doing all the interviews?
It's probably been about a month and a half or so that I've been doing. Yeah, that I've compiled all 7 episodes or so. Yeah.
So about 6 weeks, 6 or 7 episodes. I guess I want to start by asking you, how the whole process started. And then a follow-up to that is how it's been from your perspective.
That's a good question. It started, when we went there and Brendy said, "Hey, we have some old time capsule." When she did that, I said, "Oh man, I think I know what's in that time capsule." If the videos are there, I didn't know if the videos would be there or not. But I said, if the videos are there, I know what's on them. I had a pretty distinct memory of it. Now, I do remember that I was going to say something more risque when I went in there, but I defaulted and didn't for whatever reason, because I think there was a teacher hanging around outside, and I was like, I'm going to just kind of change to some default answers. But so when they brought them out, I hadn't really thought about it. They were going through the time capsule, and then I think Brendy brought them over and said, "Hey, can we convert these?" Or, I kind of know you kind of know technically how to do it. And my thought was, I probably said some crap I shouldn't have said on those, so I'm going to take them and I'm going to take them home. Like, I probably said so. Like, I just
smart. That's a smart move. Get the evidence.
Yeah. And I did say a couple tacky things while I was on there, which I have cut out. I'll be honest. Not real bad, but just stuff that was like, that's kind of tacky. Anyway, so and maybe I'll put a clip in here in a second. But anyway, so I actually got them and I brought them back here. When I played them, I converted them. I thought they were kind of, there was some gold there, to be honest with you. I thought, how often do you all of a sudden have some lost footage and in a form in which people are predicting the future, right? You don't run across that very often, or just that type of thing. I thought, I wonder if people would do this again. And so that became kind of a thing where I thought, I'm just going to put a feeler out there. And it was amazing how many people did do that. But I think it kind of gelled, Jack, because I think we had a really good reunion. I think because people kind of saw each other and got together, and it was a great time, and we felt like everybody just had a great time. They were like, yeah, let's just kind of continue this kind of thing. And so that has been fun in that. Now, I think it's been the process for me anyway, or what I've learned from the process is that people were way more open than I thought they would be about it. I thought they would just kind of give their standard answers, but they actually stopped, like Beto, and saying, you know, I felt kind of alienated. And other people go on, I kind of felt, you know, like I was kind of a misfit. I've heard that quite a bit. I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't feel like I was a misfit. I think just everybody felt that way, right? Everybody thought everybody else had it together and felt good, but everybody just, I think it's just an awkward time of their life. And so it has been fun to kind of get to know everybody on that plane of just being an adult after all these years, after you're not so idiotic, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been awesome.
Was that the first answer? Did I cover everything there? I kind of...
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And it's been, like I said, after you did my interview, it's been great to see it. And I'm really glad that you hijacked those tapes and then decided to do this. It's been really cool project from this side watching it. So thank you again. All right, now let's get to your interview.
Okay.
This is what the people want.
This is really cringy. This is the most cringy of them, I think. I think everybody probably feels they're the most cringy, but mine is really bad. But here we go. Let's go ahead and cut to it.
20 years from now, I'll be, you know, I'll have a wife and kids, and I'll probably have 3 or 4 kids and be working a steady job somewhere, just messing around. And my name is Kenny Newell. I live in Woodward, Oklahoma. And there won't be any problems with the world because scientists will solve most of all the problems and things of that sort. And anyway, I just want to say, rock on forever, and baby, you're still looking good.
Okay, you said you're going to let me put my glass down, but I want to show you. This is the Orange Eskimo Joe's cup. In the interviews, I had Orange Eskimo Joe shirt on, which I don't have, obviously, anymore. So I found this today to save it for your interview.
Nice. Continuity.
Bring back some nostalgia.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Very
You're
cringy.
on the spot now.
Mine was very cringy. Super cringy. Right?
No, it
Go
wasn't.
ahead.
But it was, so I watched your video, and I want to say this before I ask any questions. And you gave a long pause at the beginning. And I thought, man, he's going to really say something deep here. Because most everybody's kind of done a bit and said something funny or random or whatever. Oh, like me, I'm going to be the president, or there are people, I'm going to be a superstar or whatever, you know, pie in the sky stuff. So I thought, man, Kenny's going to really say something prophetic here. And then I kind of get this smirk sense from you after the long pause. And then we can go into the questions now. So this is when you start. Okay, so you said 3 or 4 kids. So any kids?
No kids. Never wanted kids. Not that I couldn't have them. They just seemed like a lot of work to me. Kids just seem like, oh my God, that I was never. I was like, yeah, that just seems like something a grown up is interested in. I'm not really interested in any of that. So it's just not. I work better as a weird uncle, probably, Jack, than I do as a dad, probably.
That's all right. Hey, it takes a weird uncle to fill the circle.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody needs that. Okay, and then you said for work. Really specific thing here. Steady job.
Yes. The
Do you have a steady job?
I do have a steady job. I do have a steady job. But let me kind of explain what I think my mindset was at that time.
All right.
So I don't think I had seen at that point in my life what I wanted to do for a living. Like, I don't think that whether it just be being in a small town or just exposed to something. I mean, I'd seen people who had this job and that job and that job, but I don't think I'd actually seen what I just kind of said, I don't know, some steady job, right? Because I didn't really have a plan. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I kind of like, I don't know, I'll figure this out, I guess, later. I don't really know what I want to do or where I'm going, which was probably maddening for adults around me, but I just kind of, whatever, I don't know. But I didn't really know nothing was appealing to me as a job. Nothing. I had not seen anything it all looked like a bunch of work to me.
It most of it is.
No damn fun. It looked like no fun. All of it. I was like, oh, this seems horrible. What? Being a mechanic or doing this other stuff? This seems horrible. So I think I kind of gave a bland answer because I just I didn't know what it was. Oh, and if I had seen it, I hadn't put two and two together that I could make money or a job at it. So.
Right. Well, hopefully you did find something that you really love that you can make money out of.
Yes.
Okay. Second part of that is you said you would be somewhere and messing around. So are you somewhere? I'm pretty sure by looking at some of the stuff in the background in your office, you're messing around a lot.
Yes, I am somewhere in Dallas, and I am messing around. All my jobs have been not necessarily traditional jobs. I started out being on the radio and then managing radio stations and being in communications. And then one day I said, I think I could design games. I think I'd be pretty good at that. And so I just quit what I was doing, and I've been doing for years, which is managing radio stations and teaching communications. And then I went into designing games, which I've been doing ever since. And so it was kind of one of those things where I've just been designing games for about and working on games for about 10 years or so. So it's been
awesome.
Pretty awesome. So it's been pretty fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so last couple things. You said no problems in the world because scientists would fix them or something to that effect. So
I don't think they have. Yeah, I don't think that one came true. I don't think the scientists have fixed all the stuff.
No, they haven't fixed it. But when I saw your video, I was thinking, obviously they haven't, but maybe not scientists, but engineers have done some amazing things since we were kids. I mean, I'm talking to you right now from a phone that's I don't know how many times more powerful than the most powerful computer was in 1991 that fits in my pocket, and I can have a virtual interview with you from. So
absolutely.
The world has changed a lot. I mean, we haven't solved a lot of problems, but we got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. I don't think they've solved all the problems. And I think this was my thought process. I actually kind of remember a little bit of that. And I thought, now let me kind of add something on it. I thought humans will always get themselves in trouble, right? Like they'll make holes in the ozone, or they'll do these things, right? But when it comes down to like, oh, we're all about to die, right? Like we really screwed up, that they'll find some really cool way, right? Or some ingenious way to come together and fix those things. Now, I don't think we do that until sometimes we're in crisis, until we really screwed stuff up. But yeah. I felt like they were kind of, they had some ingenuity, or that people would come together and fix things. I don't know why I thought that, but I just felt like they would maybe, I don't know, be smart enough when they're forced to fix stuff they messed up. Was kind of my thought, I think, at the time. I don't know.
Well, hopefully as we go along, that will come true. We keep keep fixing things as they come up.
Yeah,
We'll see.
hopefully.
We won't see. Somebody will see.
Yeah, somebody will. You're right.
Okay, so last part of your interview, which was the best part. So I could see the buildup as you're talking, and your smirk starts turning into a smile, and I could tell you're kind of waiting for the last moments of your interview to finish up. And I think I wrote it down here. I just want to say, rock on forever, and baby, you're still looking good. So tell me about that. Who are you talking? Were you talking to the camera? Were you talking to yourself in what was supposed to be 20 years, now 30 years? What was going on there?
Yeah, I was talking to myself, like, hey, baby, you're still looking good, aren't you? You know, like I'm looking through the camera at my future self, I think is what it was, right? Now, rock on forever. I have been rocking on forever. That hasn't stopped. I definitely.
Yeah, I see you on Facebook. You're always always.
I do like
concerts.
music. I do enjoy music. I support a lot of local music and enjoy and go a lot of places for that. So that's just silly stuff. But yeah, I do enjoy music. But baby, you're still looking good. Here's the worst part, the cringiest part about baby, you're still looking good is that I kind of snort at the end, or I kind of make this. I go, baby, you're still looking good. I kind of give this goofy ass.
I think you're
What's
just trying to hold it in. You were so pleased with yourself and your bit that you could barely contain yourself.
Yeah, I think, I get really straight answers. I think what happened was, and here's the true story, is I was going to give something. I remember talking to Brawley, and Brawley we'd already talked to him in a room. And I remember him walking up, and I said, I'm going to give some smart ass response. And I still remember I was going to go, and just be tacky. I was going to say, I'm going to be a gynecologist for the ladies. That's what I was going to say, right? And then I got there, and there was a teacher like hanging around the edge. And I was like, I'm going to have to get some straight answers. And they hung out there long enough where I couldn't pull the bit I wanted to pull. And so I kind of gave those answers. And then I walked out and I kind of licked the camera or whatever the deal was. I don't know. Got straight. But yeah, I was really proud of myself. But I think that's the most cringy ending of all of them.
No, definitely. I thought it was great. It's great for everybody else.
Yeah, for everybody. I think you guys are good.
Yeah, entertainment for everybody else. So I think the last thing you've done with everyone else is ask what your predictions are, or what you think the future is going to look like for you.
Just kind of retire with my wife and rock on forever.
Been great catching up, and thank you for the interviewing me and then allowing me to interview you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, sir. We'll catch up. Maybe we can catch up with the next golf tournament / trivia night / fundraiser in Woodward. So that'd be nice.
All right, man.
Thanks again, man.
Hey, by the way, you're still looking good.
I'm still looking.
Baby, you're still looking
Thanks,
good.
baby.